Peace. Greetings to you all. It is your brother Naheem, BKA Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Facts. Just the Facts, family. Tonight we're gonna talk a little bit about. We this is no secret, right? The license to kill from or by, I should say, the police force in the United States of America. So I'm going to get into a few things and speak about why our political power is needed more now than ever. I've been giving thought about a lot of thought about our political power since the election. Well, first, before I get into all of that, man, make sure y'all smash that like button. Share this video out. We're trying to have this conversation. Share the video out. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you will become a part of the notification nation. But we gotta have this discussion, man. Peace to everybody that's popping in the chat. ADOS Roots, Cato Amir, Corey Lorenz. We gotta have this and keep these conversations going. And what we do at Be the Power is a discussion that's solutions based. It's not just us talking about the situation. We also talk to how to remedy the situation. And I'm gonna get into that a little bit tonight. So we're gonna start with police brutality, right? I pulled up an article, I believe it was the last live stream that we did. Yeah, support the platform. Use the Cash App, $ Be the Power. You can also become a monthly member via Patreon, and you can also use that super chat, family. Show the channel some love. So the video I watched today by, I believe he's from Texas, Ronald Green. Let me see. Let me make sure. Let me make sure that was his name. That is his name. If he was from Texas. Peace to my brother Logic in the building. Shout out to BTP. Shout out, brother Looney. I see you. BTP, Corey Lorenz in the building. Metro customer. Peace, fam. So they beat this. They beat him. They tased him. I'm gonna play the video in a few minutes, but I want to read some of this first, and this will allow for some people to get in before we get into these videos. Now, I think was this Louisiana? I could have sworn it said Texas. So I guess it was Texas. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to read from this article, WGNO ABC News out in New Orleans. State organizations and Louisiana State Police respond to body cam footage involving Ronald Green. The bold statement that the police department put out, fam, was it was just ridiculous, man. It was ridiculous. But let's get into this thing. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The Associated Press obtained video of the deadly arrest involving Ronald Green. On the same day, various local organizations responded to the release of the body cam footage. The joint statement can be found below. The NAACP, ACLU of Louisiana, Vote, ADL, South Central Region, the Anti-Defamation League, Urban League of Louisiana, and Vera Institute for Justice issued the following, and we gotta get in a position to issue our own statements as well. This is what being a son and daughter of freedmen united is all about. We have to start doing the same things. This is what Be the Power is about. And we have to make sure that we start speaking for us in these situations, because a lot of these guys are in these organizations are merely ambulance chasers who, like Booker T. Washington said, don't want the Negro to lose their grievances, because if we did, they lose their jobs. So let's read the statement. It says, today we saw limited video footage of Louisiana State Police officers brutally assaulting Ronald Green and failing to render aid once he was under the control. It's apparent that Mr. Green died from his wounds and not the fictitious car accident reported by these officers to cover up his death in 2019. The statement issued by the Louisiana State Police exacerbates the distrust that this gruesome incident has endangered within the community. See, there's a distrust between the cops and our people. And remember, Bill Barr, he castigated those of us who had this distrust. And Bill Barr was Donald Trump's head of the Department of Justice. He castigated those of us who have this distrust. Basically, white supremacy should be able to beat you down, basically. And you shouldn't complain about it because they keep the neighborhood safe. Well, in New York, Chicago, Baltimore, Compton, Los Angeles, where are these safe neighborhoods at? Cops are not keeping neighborhoods safe. They're coming in to make quotas and beat up on Negroes, point blank, period. That's what they're doing. They're the strong arm of white supremacy. But let me continue. It says, Mr. Green's death did not happen in a vacuum. There have been recent, deeply troubling incidents involving excessive force and racism by the state police directed at people of color. They got to throw the POC in there. See, we're not going to ever use that term, people of color. I mean, unless absolutely warranted, then we'll name the groups that may be disproportionately affected in some way. But we are freedmen first. So we're going to always say in instances like this, let me reword this. There have been recent, deeply troubling incidents involving excessive force and racism by the state police directed at African Americans or Black people. It's just as simple as that. That's why we have to become bigger, we have to grow, and we have to become more vocal so we can start putting out our own statements. We don't need this people of color, BIPOC stuff intermingled with our stuff. It says there has been no public transparency since Mr. Green's death 474 days ago, over a year, and no relief to the heartbreak experienced by his family. Yet the state police's statement is only concerned about the unauthorized release of the appalling video and not its disturbing content. This apathetic response and the apparent continuing cover up of this incident demonstrates why the state police should not be responsible for investigating how Mr. Green died, and calls into question whether systemic racism has inappropriately influenced the agency's assessment and reporting on similar incidents across the state over many years. This is across many states, not just in Louisiana. So let's read what the state police had to say about this incident. The investigation into the death of Ronald Green remains under review by federal and state authorities. The premature public release of investigative files and video evidence in the case is not authorized and was not obtained through official sources. This is what the Louisiana State Police is concerned about. LSP is confident in the judicial system. Yeah, I would be too if the judicial system always rules in favor of the police. But let me continue. And fair review of this incident and continues to offer our full cooperation. Unauthorized release of evidence undermines the investigative process and compromises the fair and impartial outcome for the Green family, LSP employees, and the community. Woo! Like, this is white supremacy. This is white supremacy at work. Period. Peace to everybody that's just joining. I see y'all in the chat. This is white supremacy at work, man. Like, we just got to call it for what it is. The Louisiana State Police is basically saying that we're going to let the courts decide. The video is gruesome, and I'm about to play the video. One of the cops can be heard saying, bragging, I beat the fuck out of him. This man ain't do nothing wrong. He fled because he was scared. And they did to him the very thing that he feared. Metro customer said, where is our special bill? And we're going to get into that. We're going to see if this George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, what is it? But we're going to get into that. Let's get into this video. This, man, you know, this stuff makes your blood boil. This stuff really makes your blood boil, man. Let's share this video. We're going to get into some of the coons that the Democrats have out front in these instances and what they're saying. What they're saying. Let's share this video first. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. This thing is brutal for those who have not seen it yet. And make sure y'all share the video out. Make sure y'all hit that like button, family. All right, so let's play this thing.
I'm sorry. I'm scared. I'm just scared. I'm scared.
Newly released body cam video shows Louisiana State troopers stunning, punching, and dragging 49-year-old Ronald Green after he led them on a high-speed chase back in 2019 outside of Monroe, Louisiana. Now, for the first time, we see what happened during the arrest.
Let me see your hands. Put your hands behind your back. Give me your hands. Put your hands behind your taser. Put your hands behind your back.
Troopers claim he died on the way to the hospital as a result of injuries from his car crashing. Doctors at the hospital, however, flagged that the trooper's account didn't add up. An autopsy determined he died from cardiac arrest. Louisiana authorities have rejected calls to release footage and details surrounding Green's death and launched a probe 474 days after Green died. The investigation into the death of Ronald Green remains under review by federal and state authorities. The premature public release of investigative files and video evidence in this case is not authorized and was not obtained through official sources. LSP is confident in the judicial system and fair review of this incident and continues to offer our full cooperation. Use of force expert and former police chief of Boca Raton, Florida, Andrew Scott, analyzed the video.
Mr. Green was, to some degree, even though he had just finished leading police officers on a lengthy and high-speed chase, his inclination at that particular point was to acquiesce to what the officers want.
Green's family struggles after seeing the footage.
What we saw when he was on the ground and how he sat down, he was set up and he was with his legs out sitting on the ground and his head was down like that. That stays on me. That will forever stay with me.
The troopers left Green unattended, face down and moaning for more than 9 minutes as they used sanitizer wipes to wash blood off their hands and faces. They can be heard saying they hope he doesn't have AIDS. Leaving him face down is against most police protocols.
Officers are trained throughout the United States that once there's a struggle of this nature, the individual's handcuffed, that you need to push him off onto his side or get him in a sitting position so you can allow that breathing to be unimpeded by his own body weight.
The way it happened, he didn't stand a chance. Roddy didn't stand a chance. And he wasn't going to live to tell it. They made sure of that.
Janelle Ford, News Nation.
And we will continue to follow that investigation and
These people are monsters. Monsters, fam. And we've been forced to live under these brutes, these monsters, since we got in this country. Since we got in this country, we've been forced to live under these monsters. I want to play another clip because this is just this one right here. Let me see. Did I close it out? Oh, I think I did close it out. Hold on. I got to pull up this other video. Let's pull up this other video. And I want to run, and I'm going to run through the website, the news agency that put it out. Just give me 1 second, family. Because we have to address this thing, and we have to show why what's in place now insofar as this George Floyd justice bill is just not good enough. I don't know. There's been something wrong with this website since earlier. Let's see if I can. Hold on, family. Just bear with me 1 second. 1 second. I mean, if you haven't hit the like button, this would be a good time to hit the like button. This would be a good time to share it out. I want to show y'all the video of this incident, man. Like, these people are monsters. Here we go. Let's see if we can get it. Yeah, now watch. Look at what's going on, family. The officer is approaching this man. This man is walking away. He's telling them to come here. Come over here. There's no sound, so I don't know why there's no sound. But the officer, he's telling them, just watch. The brother is backing away from the cop. He's backing away. He shot him right in his head. Shot him right in the head, point blank range, no provocation. He's walking away from the cop. Watch this other angle, family. He's walking. The cop is saying, come here, come here. The cop had the intention to kill this brother. He's like, what do you want? What do you want? He's backing away from the cop. The cop right there at that time could have tased him. The brother is just standing there. He shoots him in his head. Shoots him right in his head. The original video is absolutely horrible. You hear the man's life just leave out of his body with the sound that he makes. I want you, let me see. Let's look at, this is the New York Post. For those of you not familiar with the New York Post, if you're not from the New York area, you might not be familiar with the Post. But more recently, over the past 4 years during the Trump administration and the rule of the neo-Confederates, more of the country has become more, and when I say neo-Confederates, I mean the Republican Party, more of the country has become more familiar with the New York Post because it is owned by Rupert Murdoch, who also owns Fox News. In New York City, we never rock with this paper. You can tell who is who by which newspaper that they read. It was just as simple as that. And you go into the bodega, the corner store, you would see the stacks of newspaper, the New York Daily News, the New York Newsday, and the New York Post. The New York Post would almost always be sitting there in black neighborhoods. Go to a white neighborhood, it was almost always the reverse. The New York Post almost always sold out. So let's look at what the Post, look at the picture, right? Look at this picture right here. Look at the deception that these devils use, because remember, we are fighting a many-armed monster, an octopus, if you will, the judicial system, the cops, the media. So in this picture, it appears as if the brother is coming towards him, and that's what the caption says. The homeless man seen approaching the deputy with a knife before being fatally shot. This man never stepped towards the cop. Never. He was backing up. This is an image of this man backing up, family. Backing up. He never stepped towards the cop. When he went to explain himself or say whatever beef he had with the cop stopping him, the cop pulled out his gun and shot him in the head. He didn't pull his taser out. He could have tased that man. The cop didn't even need to get that close to put himself in a situation that this man could even charge him with the knife. The cop could have called backup and said, we have somebody here with the weapon, which is what most cops are trained to do. Like if we don't take control of our destiny and our politics, family, then this is going to be the norm. This could be any one of our sons that's going through mental issues, man. Just shot in the head by a police officer. He's looking at him. He sees his clothes. He sees that he looks tattered and raggedy. And he feels that he can shoot this man and get away with it. And this is going on over and over and over again. I want to pull this up before I get into this next portion of what we're going to talk about with these bills. I got to pull this up because I want to frame the next portion of this conversation. Where is it? Bear with me, family. Frame this next portion of this conversation. Let me pull this up real quick. Make sure y'all can see this thing. Because it's just out of control. All right, this is from Statista.com. This is the number of race-based hate crime incidents in the United States in 2019 by race. I pulled this up before. And that's right, FF80OS now, Sister Brianna, that could be our father, our brother, our son, our friend, our cousin, our neighbor. That is absolutely correct. And AMPDM1 said it's been the norm since the Emancipation Proclamation. Corey Loren said, yeah, they want to push this Asian hate BS. And that's what I'm getting into right now. So we look at the number of race-based hate crimes in the United States of America in 2019. African Americans, 1,930. The second closest is whites, anti-white, 666, an apt number, because those people that do stuff like that are devils, point blank, period. And then Hispanic or Latinos, because they keep talking this people of color. Like these numbers are low. Anti-other race, 300. I added up all of the other groups, Asian American, Pacific Islanders, Arabs, anti-Native American, Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, anti-Asian. I added them all up. they outnumbered the Black American hate crime incidents by only, if I remember correctly, 40 incidents. All of these different groups combined only outnumber hate crimes against our people by 40 incidents. 40, family, 40. So we have to understand where we're at in American society and why we're not advancing. So I want to get into, we got Brother Ali in the building. I want to get into,
Peace, y'all.
let me see, man. Let's get into, let's get into the bill. Let's get into the George Floyd Justice Policing Act bill. I'm not going to go into deep into it, but I was reading through it earlier and I was like, this is a toothless tiger, man. This is one of the sections, police accountability, subtitle A, holding police accountable in the courts. Like, you know, and I'm sitting here and I'm reading this thing and the prosecutors, right? Because one of the subsections says subpoena authority of the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act is amended in subsection A by inserting by prosecutors after conduct by law enforcement. The prosecutors, they're in the same club. They're just in the same club. This has been documented for decades. That's why prosecutors have immunity. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, qualified immunity is something that police officers are grandfathered into from prosecutors. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So, I mean, this thing is just a toothless tiger. I noticed the word burn grant in here. So for those that don't know about Byrne, I think his name was John Byrne, if I'm not mistaken. I could be off on that. He was the cop that was killed in New York City during I think it was the brothers out in Queens, the Supreme Team, if I'm not mistaken, and Ronald Reagan used that. So they use these grants, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm noticing that the only penalty, the major penalty, I should say, in this bill, let's call the bill HR 7120, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2020, which doesn't mention African Americans, by the way. Doesn't mention African Americans. So in this bill, one of the major penalties is speaking about burn grant funding. And the term burn grant is in this bill 16 times. As you can see, I have them highlighted. So, you know, and it's explaining what the burn grant is. So what this bill is basically saying is this is just a little soft tap way of us defunding the police. And I want y'all to bookmark that, stick a pin in that. That's all this is. And they're talking about penalties of, you know, of the burn grant, right? And a lot of this stuff got Indian tribes. I'm like, what is going on in this thing, right? So reallocation, for instance, it says this is, man, I don't feel like scrolling all the way back up to see what's, I'll say it's section 223, subsection B2. So it says reallocation, amounts not allocated under a burn grant program in accordance with paragraph 1 to a state for failure to comply with this section shall be reallocated under the burn grant program to states that have not failed to supply with this section. So, like, this is the gist of this whole bill. It is just a bill that says defund the police. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. You got anything to say to that, Ali?
No, I think it's very interesting that it is a defund the police bill, but basically what they're trying to do is appease the people who came up with that mantra of defund the police. And it's like, well, if we can figure out a way to cut certain grants or whatever the case, it will appear as if we're doing our jobs as politicians. However, However, Bishop Talbot Swan had tweeted something very interesting that someone posted in the Be the Power group earlier about the Asian American Pacific Islander situation. He said he said, I guess black people have to be Asian American and Pacific Islanders to get an anti-lynching law passed, right? Because we see how fast they're working for the AAPI community in America in terms of any kind of anti-Asian, and any kind of anti-Asian hatred or aggression that they might have to deal with in this country. Congress worked very fast. The president worked very fast on behalf of them. But when it comes to the anti-lynching bills that have been proposed for years, even though there's a new one, like I said, the last one was proposed by Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. She was a co-sponsor. But the thing is, that still hasn't made it even out of the Senate. So, we have a history of being attacked and terrorized in this country as a group, as a large group, right? And we see that one incident just came to light from out of Louisiana. So these things continue to happen, but our cases are always treated very different than other people, as we see.
That's right. That's right. I want to pull this comment up before we continue. Muffet Nellen is new to the channel, obviously. I assume this is a sister, so she doesn't know what we stand on and what we're promoting. But let me read this. It says there's only one solution to this, and it's a mass organization to create Black economic and political power. But you guys don't even want to consider that. You can't ask the government to go easy on you.
Well,
yeah, go ahead, Ali. Go ahead. Please.
Yeah, I would assume that Muffet Nellen is new to the channel, and that's fine. And, I would just encourage that person to go back and really kind of look through. I mean, you can kind of look through some of the titles. You don't even have to go through all of the videos, but you can, in terms of watching all the videos, but you can just look at a lot of the titles on this channel as well as the other channel, because we have two channels, just so you know. One is Be the Power, the other one is BTP Media Group on YouTube, both YouTube channels, and they both have videos on them. If you look at just even the titles of the videos, you'll see that what you're suggesting is really not accurate at all with regard to us in terms of what we advocate for and what we're looking for. As far as the government going easy on us, we're not talking about the government going easy on us. We're talking about, like you said, political power, right? And the whole thing is, as taxpayers, right? And I have to say this to people a lot. As taxpayers, right? We pay taxes just like the Asians do. We are a larger ethnic group in this country than the Asians. We've been here way longer than the Asians. However, the specificity of the attacks against our particular tribe is much different than those against any other group of people in this country. It always has been, right? That's just our history. And so, as much as people like to say economic power and political power and all of this those are not new concepts. Like, let's just keep it real. I've often pointed people back to Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington's speech in Atlanta, where he was talking about the very same things, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. We need to, build up economic power, work hard with our hands and get our money together and yada, yada, yada. Back in the 1800s, this man was talking about that, right? And so the concept of economic power, gaining political power, whether you're talking about a person like Noble Drew Ali, for instance, who was talking about economic security and political power and all of this through civic engagement. Those are not new concepts. They're not new to anyone. We've all heard this stuff over and over and over again. Many people have tried different things in the past and have been attacked. Well, we've talked about during the Reconstruction period, all of the brothers who were in government, from federal down to state and local government, who were ran out of government at gunpoint by racist whites, the millions and millions of acres of land. You want to talk about economic power and the wealth that people were able to accumulate through purchasing land, millions of acres of land, and then to have all of that stuff stolen from them through various race maneuvers of racist whites throughout this country. Don't think any of that stuff is new. It's not new. Everybody knows about it. Anybody who's aware of American history knows all about trying to gain economic and political power. No one's dumb to any of that stuff, right? So don't assume that. I would suggest you go back and look at, like I said, just go through some of the archives on either channel. You wanna go in on that, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I want to highlight the comment again. So somebody, Cato, said that this is a man, it's not a woman. So let me highlight this again. Said no one else. No, that's not it. But I want to get to that. There's only one solution. Wrong. There's not only one solution, and that's not how we view solutions. Solutions are manyfold. So you come with the wrong premise saying there's only one solution, right? And it's mass organization. That hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. There's no blueprint for it. Not from the collective Black folk in the United States of America. There's no precedence at all. The Asian Americans asked America, the government, to go have America, the people in America, go easy on them, and we can't do the same thing. I just hope y'all understand just how weak you sound when you make these claims. You can't ask the government to go easy on you, but everybody else can. And the government signed some things. So let's get into that. Let's segue into this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. Let me blow this up a little bit more. This is a Reuters article from today. Why are all of these ads popping up? Biden saying, quote, silence is complicity, end quote. Signs COVID hate crimes bill into law. Now, we've went through the COVID hate crimes bill, Muffet Nelly. We went through the bill, and the bill is talking about Asian Americans. It's specific. The government did that. They signed that. Let's read. President Joe Biden on Thursday signed in, that's today. Remember what Brother Ali just said. We have bills that are languishing. The anti-lynching bill. Now the George Floyd Justice and Police Reform Act bill, which was first drafted last year, just languishing. The Asian American Pacific Islanders went to the Biden administration and they said, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, sure. Let's go. Let's get it. The whole Senate voted to have this bill passed for Asian Americans, except one person. And it passed the House by a vote of 364 to 62. But let's read. President Joe Biden on Thursday signed into law the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act that overwhelmingly passed Congress in a rare show of bipartisanship following a spate of high-profile attacks on Asian Americans. See, I wouldn't have signed it if I was in the House or if I was a senator, and I'm going to explain why in a few minutes. Quote, silence is complicity, and we cannot be complicit. We have to speak out. We have to act, Oh, okay. So if you go back and look at what was considered an Asian hate crime, and Brother Ali broke this down on one of our past streams about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. If you look at one of them funny, if you avoid them, like, oh, that person might have the coronavirus. Let me walk over here. That's considered a hate crime. That's cops. I just showed the video of a cop murdering a man, shooting him in his head at point blank range. Before that, I showed the video of a man already lying in the prone position, a black man, black men. The cop is saying, taser, taser. This brother is already complying. He's already complying. He's already on the ground. He's saying, I'm just scared. You got to see the whole video. I thought that's what that was. That I tried to use a video that I didn't think I would get a copyright strike on. But in the whole video, you see him. He's saying, please, I'm your brother. I'm your brother. He's saying this to these brutes, these thugs, these thugs, right? So it speaks about the legislation. I want to get to this. Okay, reports of violence against Asian Americans have spiked since the start of the pandemic last year. So they had a year of brutality. We've had since slavery and Reconstruction. Matter of fact, we got done worse after slavery than during slavery. Protracted up from the 1800s all the way to 2021. Protracted violence against African Americans. It says, and police and anti-Asian sentiment were activists and police said anti-Asian sentiment was fed by comments from former President Donald Trump blaming the pandemic on China using terms such as Kung Flu. Well, it was China's fault. It developed there. They was over there eating like bats and a whole bunch of other stuff, and a coronavirus that had previously existed mutated. And when they started to study it, somehow it got out the lab. Like, this is just a fact. Now, the Kung Flu thing, that's something else. That's something else. But the truth is, the pandemic started in China. Now we see these Asian Americans. Look at Kamala. Is that, yeah, that's Kamala in the background in this picture, standing there. But I want to get to this part. The bill, sponsored by Democratic Senator Mazie Hirono and Democratic Representative Grace Meng, designates a Justice Department employee to expedite a review. Okay, I ain't got to read no more of that. Okay. Mazie Hirono supported the senator. Wait, no. Am I saying that right? Who was the senator out of Illinois? I could be mixing these two people up.
I'm not sure.
The first person that said that they weren't going to vote on anything that Biden passed if they don't pass this Asian American Pacific Islander anti-Asian hate crime bill. It was Mazie Hirono and somebody else. Their names just escape me at the moment. But these are the people that they're making sure that the bills get passed for their people, right? No, not Jarapal. No, it was the Illinois senator. Is that Mazie Hirono? And then it was the one from Florida, or no, excuse me, Hawaii. I'm kind of jumbling it up right now, and I'll figure it out. I want to pull up something. Let me pull this up. This is what we have to deal with. Rep. Clyburn. See, there's layers to coonery. And this is the top layer right here. Rep. Clyburn. He says that qualified immunity doesn't have to be a part of the policing reform bill. Remember, after Biden won, Democrats were making a stink about defund the police. I want y'all to think, family. And they were saying that that shouldn't be something that they stood on, because if we continue to stand on it, the Republicans are going to kill us in the 2022 election. Remember, we covered that right here on the Be the Power platform. This guy is willing to capitulate our livelihoods for his political power. We got to get to South Carolina and get this dude up out of here. That is one of my primary political advocate interests moving forward, is primarying Clyburn. We got to get him up out of this seat. He has to go. And that's going to take a real boots on the ground effort in the state of California. I'll go out there myself and lead the charge.
You mean South Carolina?
South Carolina. So let me see. His statement was, I will never sacrifice good on the altar of perfect. I just won't do that, Clyburn said on CNN State. So now we got another capitulation. You don't want to defund the police. Now you want to get rid of qualified immunity. The very thing that police officers use. They use it to get away with walking up to a man and shooting him in his head. This is what they use.
Extrajudicial murders.
Yeah, Tammy Duckworth, Gray L, good looking, bro. She was the one that said she wasn't going to sign anything. And Macy Hirono second that, unless they pass that bill. They got that bill passed. Our black politicians, Clyburn, look at what they're saying. Look at what this guy just said. He's not going to sacrifice good on the altar of perfect. That means he doesn't care about our lives, and we have to start interpreting it that way, because that's what it is. That he will capitulate just to get a bill passed, so that he can say, we got the George Floyd Justice and Police Act passed. Make sure y'all elect me.
Right. Absolutely. A toothless bill. Bill. Just to be able to say he did it. Mm-hmm.
That's already toothless. So let's go to this second level of coonery. Because there's a buffer class, right? The activists, you got us who are at the bottom of the pyramid. Then you have the activist class, and they're all buddy-buddy. Charlemagne, Tamika Mallory, Mike Son, all of these people, they're all buddy-buddy. Amanda Seals, remember what Amanda Seals said? Forget the fact that Biden signed this or authored the 94 crime bill. Forget that. We need to get Trump out of office. How is that working out for us, Amanda Seals? How? But let's listen to one of the lower level coons. I call these the buffer class coons, because they're the buffers between us at the bottom of the pyramid and the politicians that we need.
So he did immigration, obviously stopping this stupid wall that they're building. Yeah. He dealt with the Muslim ban, getting rid of the Muslim ban. He dealt with making sure that I think 11 million people will become citizens. So he's doing things, right? But with black folks, you can't just sign something to say stop killing black people. It's not that simple.
I gotta replay that, family. I gotta replay that again. I got to.
So he did immigration,
This is Tamika Mallory speaking about Joe Biden. on Drink Champs. And people like Nori, he doesn't know any better. He doesn't know any better. So these guys get to sit there and talk a certain type of talk and try to tell us it's okay. It's not that simple. I got to play it again, fam.
So he did immigration, obviously stopping this stupid wall that they're building. He dealt with the Muslim ban, getting rid of the Muslim ban. He dealt with making sure that I think 11 million people will become citizens. So he's doing things, right? But with black folks, you can't just sign something to say stop killing black people. It's not that simple.
And
I mean, fam, y'all hear it. Y'all hear what Tamika Mallory just said. This man Biden just signed a bill, family, for Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders because they experienced a year of hate crimes while we are the leading victims of hate crimes
So-called.
year after year. So-called, that's right.
Hate
So-called.
crimes.
So-called. So-called.
Yep.
I don't care. The one thing that I'll speak to is the Muslim ban. I'm Muslim sympathetic. I grew up around Islam my whole life. I was born 5%er. I studied Orthodox Islam for a few, was a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, etc., etc. And I don't understand the need for the Muslim ban other than to please the evangelical Christian right in this country. That's it. Building a wall, I don't care. Build the damn wall. Build it. I'd rather police stop shooting our people down and getting away with it, and funds like reparations being made a reality than stopping the building of a wall. She said making 11 million people citizens. Family, for those
that doesn't help us.
That doesn't help us. Let me pull up something real quick. That doesn't help us at all. For those that are new to the channel, because Muffet Nellen is new to the channel. Effects of immigration on African American employment and incarceration. Let me see. The 1980 to 2000 immigration influx, therefore, generally explains about 20 to 60% of the decline in wages, 25% of the decline in employment, and about 10% of the rise in incarceration rates among blacks with a high school education or less. They're bringing, like, we got to get Tamika Mallory up out of here. And I don't mean like take her out, because somebody might try to misconstrue my words. We got to get in those spaces on Drink Champs, Breakfast Club, wherever. I said I wouldn't go on Vlad TV. I've been rethinking that the past couple of days because we have to get our message out. Tamika Mallory can't be allowed to speak for us, period. She went on one channel and basically said, we can't expect some old white man to be looking out for us. So basically it was, we voted for Kamala Harris because Charlemagne repeated this lie, this talking point of the coon buffer class blacks. No, we have to get these people out of this is us. This is our livelihoods. Clyburn, the top, and I gotta call them that. People might not like the language. I don't care. Just don't care. They're killing us. Our neighborhoods they've always been messed up. But now, crime in New York City has gone up 300%. Crime is going up in all inner cities all across the United States of America. Government did that. Government did that. And you got people like Tamika Mallory. Jump in anytime, Ali. You got people like Tamika Yeah, I just got bumped off for a second. I don't know what just happened with StreamYard on other channels as well. So I'm gonna keep my eye on that. I mean, I hear you, Fabio Gustavo. He said, I don't care about any of that. I'm black first. Yeah, I mean, if you're not
Right.
Muslim, then of course you're not going
Well,
to care about that. So I
I'll say
understand
this,
that
bro.
sentiment.
I say this. I'm definitely for, I won't even say black first per se. Yeah, black, for the race of people. But in terms of in this country, I'm for my tribe first. I'm for my tribe first before this is just me. This is just me.
Mm-hmm.
Before any religious affiliation, before any immigrant from any other country, I don't care what religion they on. This is just my personal thing. I'm for my tribe first. And if we are not positioned as a group of people who have been here and still cannot seem to access justice, if we can't position ourselves to access justice and access everything that this country has to offer its citizens, free of molestation from white supremacists and race soldiers and other people who don't want to see us doing well, I don't give a damn where they come from or what religion they on. Yeah, I don't want nobody benefiting from nothing if we can't. Because this is done. This country is here based on the work of our tribe, regardless of what religion the different people in our tribe were adherents to. So no, me, this is like I said, just me. I'm not
No
speaking
doubt.
for
No, I feel
BTP.
you. Hey, I feel
You,
you.
you know what I mean?
That's
So
why I highlighted the comment,
yeah.
because I understand.
Hmm.
I understand, but either way, it's no benefit. No immigration is benefit to us. I
Nope.
propose putting a 10-year ban on all immigration until our people get right, because it's hurting us. It's
That's right.
hurting us. So, I mean,
Our pathway to our
Mhm.
pathway to citizenship was indentured servitude and chattel slavery. How everybody else get to come over here so easily? They come over here and get citizenship real easy. We had this long, hard road to get to citizenship. I'm not with that. I'm not. That doesn't make me happy to see that.
Ibrahim Tanner said nobody. I
Nobody.
feel you. I feel you. I feel you. Hey, I feel y'all. Let me see. Muffet Nella said Clyburn is a top DNC fundraiser. You had a past program discussing how black people don't elect their own senators. If you mobilize the numbers to unseat him, then you may as well start a new party. Hey, I'm all for a new party. I'm all for it. I've been saying that since we started streaming. I'm
That's right.
all for
That's
a
true.
new political party. I believe that it's needed. We got to start crafting the narrative now around race and ethnicity, because according to the statistics, Black Americans are the second largest ethnic group in the United States of America. Those of us who can trace our ancestry back to slavery.
That's right.
So we got to mobilize in that fashion. We got to start putting the message out there. This
Hmm.
is this is what the moving back to the South strategy is all about. Getting our people to come to the 9 specific states that we've spoken about, that Charles Blow has spoken about in his book, The Devil You Know, and during our interview with him. This is what we got to do.
Hmm.
So, and you want to add on anything to that, bro?
I would just say that I agree. We have to do that. The thing that concerns me, however, is this whole idea of that this country never really went through a deconfederatization, right? We mentioned that on a number of occasions, and thinking about the way the Louisiana state troopers did that, brother, and covered it up for 2 years. This incident is at least 2 years old, and the video The body cam footage for that video is just now coming out. The problem that, for me that I see is that a lot of these people in these red states still harbor these sentiments of wanting to and feeling the God-given right to be able to oppress and to terrorize Black people with impunity. That's one of the things that concerns me about the southern states, particularly those, that are, and I guess they all are, for the most part, dominated by Republican governors and Republican, state houses, which really are just cover for these people who are still Confederate sympathizers. That's the way I would say it.
Indeed, man. I mean, let me see. I want to play. Let me play this real quick. I want to play this because this is interesting. Remember, we don't want to just talk about the problem. We want to give a solution. And one of the solutions that we have adopted is the back home strategy. I'm trying to read the chat at the same time. Let me see. Fabio Gustavo, do you think Black Americans should lobby for reparations for the People's Party? I mean, I'm not necessarily familiar. We should just lobby for reparations in
We have to
general.
lobby for reparations for the people whose families were affected by these particular institutions that are being pointed out, whether that's slavery or Jim Crow.
So,
yeah, go ahead, bro.
Well, Cato responded to him and said the People's Party are nothing but a bunch of progressives until it comes to developing policies for Black people. Then they suddenly become status quo defenders. I'm going to take Cato's word on that, even though I'm not too familiar.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with them either, but I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. I would agree with that because that's what the Democrats are, the same thing. The same thing. And we've already been down that road. That's where we at right now. That's where we are right now. People consistently capitulating when it comes to the things that our particular group needs.
That's right.
And that's go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say that's tiring. I'm tired of dealing with that. I don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over.
Facts. I want to share a clip from our interview with the brother Charles Blow, who wrote the book, The Devil You Know, because we are solutions oriented. We can talk about greater political and economic power. And I think that the brother helped our pathway towards acquiring the power that we need to move our people out of the muck and mire by our own hands while we fight for reparations. So I want to share this real quick. Okay, what just happened here? Why did it do that? Okay, so it's not going to let me share the video like that. Okay, yeah, Brother Ali, if you want to go in real quick while I try to just work this thing out.
Well, I was just thinking about immigration as you were talking, and how Tamika talks about these 11 million new people becoming citizens, and it's so easy. It's so easy, and I think about all of the stuff that the years or centuries of stuff that our people had to go through to become citizens, to access citizenship. Years of this stuff. Like I said, slavery, indentured servitude, all of these kinds of things, right? We had to go through that in order to access citizenship. A whole goddamn war had to be fought for us to be able to access citizenship in a true sense, right? Now there's some type of denizen or something second class citizen or denizen or something like that, but an actual citizen. And the fight, the lives that were lost, the terrorism that was faced, everything. But yet you get all of these people nowadays, they're able to gain citizenship so easy, man. It's just fill out some forms and stuff. Fill out some forms. You fill out this form and you wait a little while. Fill out this form and wait a little while. Meanwhile, our people had to actually go to war. Thousands of men fighting in the Civil War for this stuff to be able to vote, without being molested and burned alive and hung up by some racist devils and stuff like that. The question that that really comes to mind is, if indentured servitude and slavery was our pathway to citizenship, why shouldn't it be that for everybody else trying to get citizenship in this country? Why we have to be the only ones to go through that to get to citizenship? I think everybody needs to go through indentured servitude and slavery to gain citizenship in this country. That should be a requirement.
That should be a requirement. Like, come serve.
That's right. Shit, why we got to be the only ones going through that? Everybody else gets in here easy, man. Compared to what we had to do, they came easy.
That's right.
Real easy.
That's right. And it's deeper than just forming our own political party. Like, there's layers to this whole thing. And that's why y'all been hearing me say on the platform recently, what is the end game to a lot of the conversation that we're hearing on YouTube? Like, what is the end game? What is the results going to be from all of the talking? Because I don't do this for no self-enrichment. I barely get anything from this. Like, real talk. Yeah, I don't see no donations lighting up our super chat like that at all. It's just it is. So what is the end game? Because I'm not up here for that. I appreciate it. I love it when people support the platform, because it shows that they really care about the message. But I mean, what is the end game? We are talking about an end game. Brother Charles Blow paints a dire picture. So I want you all to listen up to this clip from this interview we did with Charles Blow about moving our people back down south so that we can gain political advantage in this country. To me, it is one of the only strategies that makes sense, because it's something that is achievable. It's something that's achievable, because we once left the South and went to New York, Chicago, Detroit, the Midwest, California, etc. So let's listen up.
Right. Radical representation. No, that's literally right now 90% white people. But if you take the population of all those states, put them together, they're only 1/4 the population of black people in this country. It's not about your scale. People say, well, black people can't think they're going to have that much power. They're only 14% of the population. Scale has nothing to do with it.
That's right.
Those people in those 6 or 7 states represent only 3% of the American population, but they also represent 1 out of every 6 Senate votes ever cast on any issue.
Wow.
What you have to do is decide if you want to be strategically arrayed in America rather than completely spread out. And there's a balkanization of this country that's coming, whether I wrote this book or not. It's happening. In 30 years from now, 6, 7, 8 of the southwestern states will be majority Hispanic, not majority brown, not majority minority, majority Hispanic. They will send whatever delegation they want to Washington, and they should. They will control all those electoral college votes, and then that's the way it breaks. Hawaii will continue to be majority Asian, South Pacific Islander, and they will send people representing that demographic to Congress as they do now. Oregon, Washington, down into the Rockies will continue to be majority white. Everything east of that will be some combination of majority white and majority minority. There is not a single state on that map 30 years from now that is projected to be majority black. Now, black people just have a choice to make. As I've been going in this bookstore, I keep saying, I'm not twisting you on. I'm saying, do you want state power or not?
That's right.
Because you can have it. It has nothing to do with your scale. Has nothing to do with you being 40% of the population. It has to do with where do you want to literally position yourself in the country? Because you can have that power.
Hey, I mean that. Would you want to say something to that, Ali?
Yeah, one of the mistakes that we have made, that I see, that we've made since the 1960s at least. I often say right after Dr. King was killed, things changed for us in terms of our approach to politics. It appears to me that way. The lack of practicing tribalism. We've been taught to stay away from tribalism. We've been taught that tribalism was a bad thing, when in all actuality, that's exactly what everybody else actually practices, except us. They told we've been taught that tribalism is bad. Tribalism is bad, and the reason that it was said to us is because usually we use things against each other as opposed to using them in the right way. And so I can understand why somebody would say to us, tribalism is bad. Especially when you're dealing with, small groups of black people doing stuff to other groups of black people. But the fact of the matter is, everybody else understands how to use tribalism, and they understand the importance of that, except our people. And so just listening to his clip, and what he was talking about, basically that's what he's saying. They're going to be practicing tribalism while black people are scattered across the country.
That's right. That's right. I mean, we have a plan. We have a strategy. We can't do this wishful stuff. I'm going to pull this comment up about Muffet Nellen. I'm amazed that we got Josh, BTP Josh just jumped on. Muffet Nellen says, I'm amazed that anyone trusts in the political process or the U.S. to do right by us. What do we expect to force them to do for us without political or economic leverage? Muffet Nellen, I just have to be blunt and say you speak out of ignorance. First and foremost, you speak out of ignorance. You don't understand politics, number one, and you don't obviously understand the history of what these people have done to us to make us an economically disadvantaged group of people. So the fact that you keep coming up with these claims about, like, you're not leaving the United States of America. You're not expatriating.
That's where I was going to go.
Yeah, I don't see anybody saying we need to follow Muffet Nellen's plan or whatever your name is plan to greater. People have been saying what you have been saying for years. And what winds up happening is groups within the tribe that separate themselves from the tribe. They practice what it is that they may practice, but it's not a benefit to the whole tribe. And when we say tribe, we mean the freedmen.
And they weaken, to be honest with you, their lack of participation helps to weaken the movement of anybody who is actually trying to gain political positioning and economic leverage as a group in this country, because everybody wants to be for self.
That's right.
That's one of the dangers of do for self. It kind of also indicates, I got mine, you get yours. You do for self, and I'm gonna do for self.
That's right.
As opposed, because you see what I'm saying? Because when people say that do for self thing, they really not always talking about the group. They're talking about what they can do for themselves and their families, and whatever it is that you can do to help support what I'm doing, that's great. Right. But there's never really a group plan in any of that do for self talk. You ever notice that? There's never a
That's right.
group plan. They always talk about, well, we could pool our resources and buy a town, or we could pool our resources and get a school, and all this kind of lame stuff that really is
That's right.
like, man, what are you talking about? We're gonna pool our resources and get a school, and we're gonna pool our resources and buy a farm, and like, man, you're not even a farmer. What you talking about?
Yeah, and matter of fact, Ali, that's like the real tribalism, or that's like the real application of tribalism that you're talking about. Like, and when you're talking about tribalism, people got to understand, like in most African countries, tribalism, the complaint about it is you fighting amongst the native ethnic groups in the country so much that you lose sight of how the real enemy, which is usually European countries and Chinese or whoever who is doing the real plundering, they have the real economic power, but the infighting and the civil war and all that kind of stuff is causing the country to not, like, pretty much it's opening up for exploitation from outside influences. But what we gotta understand here is, like, it's different. Like, this is not a situation where there's an outside influence. This is our country. It's only one of us as a tribe here, and the enemy, as far as the dominant group, when you talk about the racial hierarchy, is of the people who classify as white and white supremacy. Like, that's if you don't tribe up against them, then you just pretty much ensure your erasure. So we're talking about survival. That's tribe being like putting the needs of your group first. That's A1. That's paramount. If you don't do that, what you pretty much just say is we just concede to be politically, economically, socially irrelevant, continue to be subjugated and abused, and we just gonna lay down. That's basically what that means. And I want to say something too, again, about the back home strategy, right? When the brother says, I was reading the comment, like, the whole point, I don't even remember his name, it was a wild name, but the whole point, that's the whole point of the back home strategy, right? Like, it's not about waiting for them to give us something or making them give us something. No, the back home strategy is about taking power. That is the do for self. That is the political do for self. That's saying we're going to take the power in the state. Understand, the United States is a union of states. Each state is like its own country. It only has to bend to, the laws that are not that are explicitly expressed by the United States Constitution and the federal government, right? So, but each state has essentially its own president. It's called the governor. Each state has essentially its own Congress, which is just like your state Congress or state legislature. So when we talk about getting state power, yes, we're talking about affecting federal law in terms of having senators and more House reps. We also talk about affecting things that's gonna, like, if you're talking about how can we stop police brutality, the back home strategy, if we talking about 22% of Black folks out of the 44 that's living outside of the South move back to some of these states, if you was able to have a majority in Louisiana, you was having a Native Black American governor, right? The descendants of the freedmen, right? And you have them as governors, people in your state legislature. Not only that, people that get appointed as judges, people that is the state's attorneys, and people in all these positions that make decisions and that have power to make a tangible change, to make people feel some pain, to influence budgets, to influence the structure of how these organizations are run. We're talking about police departments. They can make wholesale changes, but they're not going to do it. We have to get in power by having the numbers to put ourselves in position to do it. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about just waiting for somebody to do something. No, like, America is a republic. America has a Republican form of government. That means you have to have the numbers to go to the polls to influence to see who's going to win elections. You get your people that can win elections, like they be getting their people to win elections to maintain white supremacy. You can like strike a serious blow to white supremacy in your state.
That's right.
Like that's how you have to do it. You can't sit around thinking, oh, I'm just gonna sit. Like, cause tell me, if you don't do it in Maryland, you know what I'm saying, Delaware, Virginia, Louisiana, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, where are you gonna do it at? We don't have the numbers. We don't have the possibility of getting the numbers in these other states. So you telling me you're gonna be able to build up the numbers to influence the change in California, where you 5% of the group? Or are you gonna do it in New York? Are you gonna do it in Illinois? Are you gonna do it in Texas? No, we can't. We don't have the numbers. So we're talking about getting power. And to get the power, you got to have the numbers. You got to have the numbers in a system where it's a democratic republic. You have to have the numbers. And that's what the whole point of the strategy about is getting the numbers.
That's right.
And let me say this too, just to add. Many of the people very often who are spitting the do for self ideology are people who are anti-political action. Very often these people are anti-political engagement. What are we voting for? We're not voting. We're not going to engage in that process because we can't expect, like he said, he started out telling you, you can't expect the government to do anything for you. So anybody that starts out like that is telling me this is someone who is not civically engaged. He's not going to participate in any kind of democratic process. He believes that he's one of those type of people who believes that we can pool our resources, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and we can just do it ourselves without the government, without any kind of government intervention, because ultimately they're not going to do anything for us anyway. So those type of people are not even the ones who are going to help you achieve political power. I don't even know why they use the word politics, because they're really not interested in politics anyway.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of hopping in the conversation. I haven't been reading the chat that much. I don't know if that individual was what real sentiments they hold. It's hard to express, probably clearly in the chats. So I don't know, but this is not necessarily at any particular individual. This is because we know a whole lot of people that we deal with on a regular basis and we interact with,
So
and then we see what they come out of their mouth.
Yeah. And we know the sentiment and we know where it's coming from. So when you make a statement like that, that's why I have this pie chart up on the screen. When you're talking about leveraging, pooling together our economics and leveraging it, like this chart, well, who knows where it's at now, right? But this chart shows, and Brother Josh put this chart together when we first started Be the Power, based on the numbers of what year was that, Josh? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think this is 2016.
So
maybe around 2016.
2016 numbers, right? This hasn't moved, hasn't budged, and we don't know where it's at now because of COVID. And during COVID, the rich got richer. The poor got poorer, because a lot of the poor people didn't get stimulus checks because they didn't file taxes. They didn't
and you were less invested in the stock market. You didn't have large retirement accounts and large stock holdings.
You weren't
when
invested
the stock market,
in Amazon.
Yeah.
That went up.
And crypto.
Sales went up like crazy. You see? What money are you talking about? That $3 trillion, most of it is being held, as we showed on the last stream, by the top 10%. 75% of that is being held by the top 10% of our people. The rest of it is necessities. That's all it is. It's also conflated. If I put $2,000 down on a car that's a used car that's $18,000, they count that as a part of this 3 trillion. I can't afford the car. I could only afford to pay minimum payments on the car every month after I put the $2,000 down. But what these evil people do is they add that. They add the mortgage and they say this is the total spending power of Black wealth. Like, you got to understand this thing. And we're going to call it how we see it. We see certain comments, we'll address them, and after a while we're going to address them the way that we address them. Like, it is what it is. But no, we have to. Let me see. This person says, I believe that people could be organized to take government seats with a sustained effort. No one mentioned do for self to isolate from the outside world. I mean, that's what you're calling for. Like, I can scroll back up and just highlight your comment. You basically called for do for self. That's what you called for. Like, we got to do it. That's the do for self attitude, that we somehow got to pull together our little bit that we have to somehow make this great effective change. I mean, people been saying Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was sucked into saying the same thing. He spoke about this myth of Black wealth, or well, rather Black spending power, and how that spending power rivaled the wealth of most nations. Like, no, that's not how this thing works. That's not how it works at all. So, here's your comment. I'm amazed that anyone trusts in the political process or the U.S. to do right by us. What do we expect to force them to do for us without political or economic leverage? But that wasn't the one necessarily that I was trying to pull up.
And I don't have a whole lot of disagreement with that statement, but that what I was trying to communicate was that's the whole point of the strategy that we're talking about, because that's how you get the political and economic leverage. Waiting for, or trying to, we're doing for self. See, I think people get it misconstrued when we talk about doing for self. And Ali, you broke it down, because a lot of times when people say do for self, they talk about rugged individualism as opposed to like doing something as a group or for the group. But when we talk about doing for self, it's not only economics. It's not only like trying to do business with the little bit of capital you have, which is a lot of times broke Black business instead of just American business. But it's also doing for self is also collective political action. That's the political action is doing for self too, because like you cannot have successful politics. I mean, you cannot have successful business without some type of political power. You just at the whim or whatever. Whenever the people that feel infringed upon, they see you progressing, you're at the whim of whenever they want to cut you out.
That's right. Brother Ali, you got anything to share on that?
No, I agree. I think Josh is right on point with that. Josh is right on point. Which we're running a takeout spot, seafood takeout spot right now, and it's not easy. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? It would be great if we had government that would be really willing to help Black entrepreneurs gain the upward mobility that they really are looking for, man. But so many Black businesses fail. So we do need government intervention. As much as we want to get around it, we need that. We need that. That's just the type of society that we're in. You can't really get around that. It's very difficult. So I get it. The whole idea of we shouldn't expect government to do anything, but my point is, what do you expect? Especially as taxpayers, what should we be expecting?
Especially,
or should we stop paying taxes?
Right? Especially when Asian Americans can experience something for 1 year and get a bill passed specifically for them. And we got Tamika Mallory. I gotta play this again, Ali. I gotta play this again. Tamika Mallory said what?
So he did immigration, obviously stopping this stupid wall that they're building. He dealt with the Muslim ban, getting rid of the Muslim ban. He dealt with making sure that I think 11 million people will become citizens. So he's doing things, right? But with black folks, you can't just sign something to say stop killing black people. It's not that simple.
And a part of that is, they justify it based on the fact that a lot of the killings that they're talking about are actually police killings. And so then the question is, are these killings justified versus Asian Americans being harassed by other regular citizens based on, Kung Flu and the COVID pandemic and everything else like that. So she's talking about it ain't easy. It's not going to be that simple because we're talking about police killings versus regular citizens, murdering black people on a regular basis. That's the kind of logic, because I already know how people think. So I know that's the kind of logic that they're going to be coming with, and it's as to why they will say it's not that easy.
Indeed. So, family, we're about to wind this thing down, but before we do, the reparations rally, you already know the reparations rally is coming up on June 18th in Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to be out there at 11 a.m. That means we're going to be out there early. Look, we want to make a statement that day. That's why it's called the Freedmen's Reparations and Justice Rally. This topic that we're speaking on tonight, a license to kill black people, is a part of the ongoing injustice, the war that white supremacy has had on our people really before the formation of this country. And we've got into some of that history on this platform on several occasions. But the manner in which it has happened here in the United States of America is unprecedented. And we can't let people who are not us, not of our tribe, like Kamala and Biden, say that America is not a racist country. We got to check coons like Tim Scott and Clyburn, who represent side, each wing of the bird. Each wing of the bird. We have to check them when they say that. We have to check them. And this is going to be a large part. This is June 18th, right before Juneteenth, which is a Saturday. I want to have a fight party. One of the Charlo brothers, for those of you who are into boxing, the identical twin brothers, is fighting on Juneteenth. His purpose for fighting on Juneteenth is to do like how Mexicans do on Cinco de Mayo. Brother Marlon Watson said he's gonna be there. Yo, I can't wait to meet everybody, to be honest with you, man. We've grown, we've had some growing pains, we've had some tough times, we've had some debates, some knockout, drag out brawls as a family, as a tribe. And, in my family, if I see something that I don't like, I'm calling it out. I don't care who don't like it. And you can say whatever you got to say about me to the other family. But at the end of the day, we are still family. We are still family. So I'm hoping that a lot of people show up from this reparationist movement, this reparationist collective, i.e. e.g. the freedmen, the descendants of the freedmen. Brother Cato said he's going to be there. I look forward to meeting you as well, brother. We're gonna lay out reparations this day in no uncertain terms. We have 5 topics that we're going to touch. We have the author of House Bill 541 out in Georgia. It is a local equity initiative, also known as a local reparations program. I try to stray away from reparations in the local thing, but I mean, I think Charles Blow gave us a good answer in that regard as well, an excellent answer. You know, the states harmed us too. The states harmed us as well. And Sister Tamara is going to speak as well. Sister Tamara Johnson Shealy is going to make a big announcement on that day. So, you know, but the bulk of us that's going to be speaking is going to be us, the freedmen. So, you know, Sister Brianna says she's going to try to make it there, no doubt, sis. You know, hopefully this thing is a success. We're going to try to get some radio ads, et cetera, et cetera. We was hoping that we could get these donations kicked up for the event from the GoFundMe. Let me put that in the chat again. I believe it is also the link is also in the description. But you know, it's going to cost some money to get certain things done. And you know, we gotta, I know it's hard right now. I know it's hard right now. So the sister said, is it a one-day event? Just check it so I know how long to book my flight. Look, let me say this. I planned on making it a weekend event. So we're not gonna be able to have the Juneteenth celebration with all of the pageantry that I wanted. I wanted to do it up. Barbecue, fireworks, DJ after the live band played, and all of that type of stuff. Bouncy houses, little water slides for the children, all of that stuff. It's going to be in June in Georgia, right? So that Saturday, I wanted to make it an all-day event starting at around 4 o'clock. But, you know, something like that takes a whole bunch of time and a whole lot of planning and a whole lot of resources. So I want to, at the minimum, do something the next day with the freedmen. That's why I said I want to try to have a fight party. Maybe we can rent out a bar or something. I don't know, you know, where we can go and just watch. I'm pretty certain everybody is not fight fans, but it's a way to support a freedman fighter that's fighting because he wants to do for our tribe what the Mexicans do for Cinco de Mayo with their boxing events. And I think that we should elevate that and highlight that. So, you know, I want to really make some type of weekend out of it. I just don't have, outside of the rally, I don't have that part situated, but I want to do something with us so we can just build and just chop it up, you know, that Saturday on Juneteenth. We're freedmen. We got to try to do something. So, you know, maybe some people could get with me offline and we can see Brother Grimm. Shout out to BTP Grimm. He said, find a hotel that's showing the fight. Might just do that. Yeah, I might just do that. I've actually been to a hotel that showed the fight before. So yeah, that might actually be what we do. That might be what we do. Yeah, so you know, we got some time, you know, to work it out. But man, we got a month actually. we got a month. So I just want to step it up a little bit, family. Let's get this thing going. And I mean, we're gonna have a successful rally, without doubt. But that next Saturday, I want us all to hang out, feel each other's vibes, feel each other's energy, get to know each other offline. I was at the ADOS conference, and it felt like a family affair. And I was able to meet some people, and a lot of the people that I seen there, I wound up getting cool with before the fallout, right? Some people I'm still cool with. Some people wasn't, they fell back, and then they came back and said, yo, y'all are right? Because we're not wrong. And if we were, we would be the first ones to admit and come out and apologize for being wrong, because we're men, real men at the end of the day. So, yeah, let's do something. I'll stay about an hour and some change from Atlanta, so we can do something. And maybe we'll work out some details. That's something we'll talk about online, family. I'm gonna look into some things tomorrow morning, and we're gonna get this thing going. So, that's where we're at. Reparations, Freedmen's Rally on Friday. Saturday, we just gonna try to hang out and do something, chill, build, talk politics, talk strategy, etc., etc. So, bros, y'all got anything else y'all want to say before we get up off here? I guess not. So
Nah, man.
No.
I just gotta say, don't. Well, I gotta cover for my brother Logic. Politics is the game. I mean, government is game, and politics is how it's played. Peace.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Brother Ali.
Peace, everybody. Yo, yo.
Peace.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I just want to say peace to the family, whoever was tuned in. I appreciate you greatly. Always, always. One love, everyone.
definitely. So let me see. Muffin Nelson, I've also been close to Democratic politicians, and I see how they operate. No one remembers how Dinkin offered to pimp and sell black voters to his handlers. I do. I'm from New York. I'm pretty certain Ali remembers that as well. Dinkins wasn't the best. He wasn't the best mayor for black New Yorkers. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me see. The political parties aren't genuine and never have been. They have to be forced by overwhelming leverage if they are willing to do anything for us. That is why we are proposing our people, at least half of the 44% that live outside of the 9 states, we're proposing to move, or suggesting our people move back to so that we can gain political conference. Sister FF said the conference was bombed. So sad I didn't get to meet you there. Let me see. Looking forward to meeting the fam. Yeah, man. Sis, I hope you come through. I hope everybody could come through. Peace, Vince Jefferson. Peace and love. Okay, peace and love to everybody. So we're gonna end this. Shout out, Sister Riri. I see you in the building, sis. So we are gonna end this thing. And I'm going to end it with the motto of the platform, which is don't just fight the power, become the power. And then, and only then, will you have the power to make a change. And with that, I say peace.